What the hell are they?
They're us, that's all. There's no more room in hell. When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
Hello, welcome to Slaughterhouse Talks. I'm Pork Chop.
And I'm Dr. Graves.
And today we're talking about the 1978 classic directed by George A. Remero, Dawn of the Dead.
Heck yeah!
Let's start off. Again, in the Big Three series, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer Day of the Dead, but I do love Dawn. It's a big, I just love most of the things about it.
It seems to be everyone's favorite in a sense. If you have seen it, it becomes more of a cult classic because, you know, horror movies in a sense are always going to have a cult more than normal, aren't they?
Yeah, there isn't an award for horror.
No, it's a shame. Dawn of the Dead was big. It's a big one. It's up there with The Exorcist, Texas Chainsaw, the big named horrors. If you know Night of the Living Dead, you've gotta watch Dawn of the Dead.
You have to know Dawn of the Dead.
It's such a good movie, and again, Remero, we got some nice political, scenes and ideas coming through.
Yeah, I would say political mixed with cultural. Because during this time, when it came out, 70s, 78, malls weren't really a big thing.
But consumerism was.
Consumerism, thank you, is really a big thing in this movie because you can see how it affects the characters and just humanity.
Takes a big chunk of it.
I watched the documentary last night. Well, if you do get a chance, watch it because there's more backstory. But mainly, George A. Romero wanted the feeling. If you've watched MASH, where it's very real but with humor, that's how he wants you to feel about this. You can laugh at this, but remember, it's happening.
It's true.
It's true. So that's what I really like about this movie. Is just there is humor, but it's also the underlining of just this is happening.
And there are likable people or characters in this movie.
Well, a couple.
There are people that we like to watch in this movie.
Do you want to get into the characters then, real quick?
I'll get into some backstory. Before characters, I know. Ooh, backstory. So, when Night of the Living Dead was finished, it didn't get a lot of praise. Slowly was gaining a cult. This was in '68. This is when the events were happening in '68. It slowly got a cult, and everyone was like, "Okay, you gotta have another one, man. You gotta have another one." And Remero getting the pressures of "Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to do another one, huh?"
Yeah.
He kept getting these, and he got a contact from a name that we're familiar with, Dario Argento. Very classic Italian classic.
If you know Suspiria or Deep Red, yes. Sorry, my brain went off. It's yes.
There's a fistful. He can just. There's so many.
The main one in pop culture is Suspiria.
Suspiria is classic. He is a great horror director, but on top of that, he is a great director. He's just a great director.
I would say artist.
Yeah. Specifically, so Remero gets this call from him, and he's in Italy, and it turns out Dario Night of the Living Dead,
which surprised me.
Yeah, got a big little gathering in Italy, and
a little gathering,
in Italy, and Dario was to Remero, "You should come over. We should write Dawn of the Dead, and we'll discuss what we can do."
Yeah, just agree with me on certain terms.
Yeah, the percentages, the cuts, and what they came up with. The idea was they both write it. Dario releases his version, translated, and call it a different title in Italy. A US and UK and the rest of Europe gets Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah,
Italy, it is called Zombie. It is called Zombie.
ZOMBI.
Yep,
that's it.
Zombie. Lucio Fulci later on releases a movie called Zombie 2.
Mm-hmm.
It is the sequel to Zombie 1, Dawn of the Dead. That is the sequel.
But it's a completely different movie.
It's a different movie, a different universe, but because it's Italian, it's that world. But to the rest of the world, when Zombie 2 comes out, it's called Zombie.
It's called Zombie, okay.
So that's, if you get confusion, if you ever see a poster and it's called Zombie with Gnarly Zombie, it's Zombie 2. It's the sequel to the Italian Dawn of the Dead. Watch it.
We'll explain more into that because we've added another movie into this little zombie thing we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be watching Zombie 2,
Mm-hmm.
but again, it's zombie.
Mm.
But we'll explain more of that when we get to that episode. But
So-
I think you've done a nice little
But
coating.
if there is confusion, if anyone's looking into the zombie timeline, definitely look into it. Now,
Do you want to do characters and cast? Oh, well, I'll get into this. So we've got David Emge, who plays Steven, the boyfriend of Francine.
dickhead.
He's a dickhead. We got Ken Foray!
Woo!
Woo! Plays Peter. I love Peter.
So good.
Galen Ross plays Francine, girlfriend
She's
to
good.
Steven. She was in Creepshow. She was the one buried in the sand.
Oh, was she really?
Yeah, it's Galen Ross.
Huh.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. We've got Scott Reiner, who's Roger. I like Roger as well. He's kind of fun.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got Tom Savini. The great makeup artist Tom Savini is playing Blades in this movie.
He's got a little mustache.
We got his makeup assistant, Tasso Scott Rafkis. Sorry, his name is hard to pronounce for me. And he plays Sledge.
Yep.
He's a very memorable character. Those are the cast characters. We should talk about the cut we watched. Because there are different cuts. People might be like, we've watched a different one you're talking about.
So if you watch Zombie, that's the Italian cut. That's an hour and about 30 minutes. That's the film cut. If you watch Dawn of the Dead, the theatrical cut, you're looking about
2 hours.
You're touching 2 hours. If you look at director's cut, you're still touching 2 hours, about 2 hours and 15 minutes. If you look at the complete cut, which is the one we watched
the complete cut.
which I recommend more because it mixes the Italian cut with the director's cut and the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
You put those together, 2 hours and 34 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a beast.
This was a chunk of a movie. I gotta say, well, I've got the DVD version, which is the most basic version you can get. I gotta say, I think I love the complete version more. I have to admit, the version we watched I like more. It has the Goblin music, and for people familiar with Goblin, love it.
So good.
So good. It's got more stuff adds to it. Like, we'll get into it, but with the radio station,
Yeah,
there's more cut correctly. But yeah, I recommend this cut if you can find it. I'll link it in the description, and you can go watch it for yourselves and be like, wow.
It's also the ambience a little bit creepier.
The music adds a little creepiness to it.
Yeah, it's a little bit creepier than I remember. The music in the end cuts a little bit because that's just where like they're mixing the cuts together. But it all makes sense logically in the end when you watch it. Like you've watched the movie in its entirety.
Shall we begin this? Did you say a beast?
Beast.
You may start.
Opens on a carpet recording studio wall. Ugh.
70s carpet. Crushed.
Title cards are not very important in the Dead series. They're not as flashy as most. So it's just white text on the Dead. We get the first shot of it, and it's Francine asleep with a coat, and she jumps up, and there's like fucking hell going on.
These events.
We were talking
it basically happened after Night of the Living Dead. Like, there's still some ghouls and zombies. Same thing.
The idea of like Night of the Living Dead, that part of America was like, okay, we're done. Like, they're all dead and buried, and they're like, oh shit, they're still coming back.
Yeah, there's more of America.
Yeah, and it's like, so that was just one part of America we watched. So when we get to Day, that's another part we're getting to. Like, these are just different parts of the whole universe we're experiencing. So we get to see Francine. She's stressed and gets up, and everyone's like, this woman comes in, it's like, it's my turn with a jacket.
It's my turn to sleep.
And she gets the jacket and sleeps, and like, they haven't had any new information for about 12 hours. Nothing's going through, and the fucking boss of the radio station wants to send them to close down health centers and support centers.
And also,
to keep the station up in the air for views.
Yeah, and also there's out-of-date rescue stations that they want to keep broadcasting.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't even mention the cameo.
I got that yet.
You skipped out a lot. I'm sorry.
They're like, while the fucking hectic's going through, the camera pan's doing it's actually well done because you get to see like papers flying around. Everyone's like, it's inaudible and audible, so you're kind of getting in conversation, and
it goes in and out of conversations.
Yeah. And we get into the main control booth, and there he is, George Remero, sitting at the front
with his wife.
With his wife, and they're talking about like, you know, put in all this information, do all this, and she's like, well, how the hell can I do
Run
this?
the rescue station.
Yeah, well, I haven't got any, and it's a nice little cameo because It works.
The chaos works.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "Oh God, I was stressed out." And then we get the camera pans down. We're into the main theater, or the theater now. We get
Basically
into the studio.
Studio.
And
it's a doctor.
News anchor talking to a doctor. The doctor is talking moral sense. He's talking about like you gotta get rid of these. You gotta kill them. You need to stop having this idea of like they're people.
Yeah, they're not your family anymore.
So it's kind of the same mindset of like Knight kind of passing over the news anchor talking, and like the logical sense of talking like you just need to get rid of them. They're just dead flesh, really. And everyone's like disagreeing, going crazy.
They're like, you don't kill him.
No, everyone's going crazy about it. Meanwhile, the main boss is like still wanting to talk over them, and it's like, get that fucking idiot off the air.
Get him off the mic.
And we finally, everyone chills down for a bit, and finally it's just like, you need to tell us like just what's up. What's happening?
We get a little bit of information. They kill for food. They eat their victims to stay alive. You understand me?
Yeah.
And the only way to destroy them is shoot them in the head.
Yeah,
just complete destruction of either body, and then what remains burn.
Mm-hmm. And people aren't willing to accept that still. And while that's happening, Steven comes popping in.
We're introduced to Steven.
Just pops in and he has to show the main guy. Like, I like that there's still people doing their job. There's still a guy.
Let me see your security card.
Yeah, there's still hell going on. The world's ending, but I need to see who you are.
Can I see your pass, please?
Gets in and like goes to Francine, and she's so distracted with what's going on. She didn't even hear what he said. He's like, we need to get on the roof. You're like, meet me at 9 o'clock. And she's like, what?
What'd you say? Meet what?
To go on the roof, meet me at 9 o'clock. And it's like, okay, Steven's a real man.
He's a gaslighting.
He's an asshole.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Like, he's very forceful. It's like, just get on the roof and don't make me come looking for you. It's like, okay, what are you going to do if you come looking for me? Jesus.
We'll put you down.
We cut to that, and now we're at the projects. Big old, skyscrapers, apartments, and we're having a raid with the SWATs. Really kind of like out of context. Like, there actually are ghouls coming to life and like this happening, but we still got to do our job.
Yeah, we're still going to take down the project. I think they went in there for specifically the ghouls, but it turns into shoot anything that moves.
Well, the main SWAT guy, the captain, they're talking to this guy Martinez. He's the number one suspect. There's a huge gathering of like, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, Black, just a huge gathering of these, other society. And George Remero is really, making again the statement. Like, this is the lives that these people live in, and for these, the higher class to come in and push around and to murder, basically.
That's basically what they've lived through.
Yeah, that is not okay. And we get into this, and I don't know what his name. His name's
Willie.
Willie. I call him Pig. This guy's a pig.
He's a pig.
Fucking pig. He coming and he's straight up awful. Wants to kill everyone because they're different.
He's racist.
He's racist. He's not racist. Because of the actual justice involved. He just wants to kill them because.
Yeah. And
we get in and we meet Martinez, and it's god damn it.
It's brown face.
It's a man in brown face. Come on now. You're trying to be political and correct, and he goes out and he gets shot.
He gets shot, yeah.
Martinez got shot. We're introduced to Roger in this whole hellfire, and to his new cop friend. He gets shot.
Yeah, Roger's fine, but the guy he just spoke to is headshot.
So that's like, and Roger has feeling than any of
Roger's,
the SWAT
I think, is more human. He's just like, he's trying to stop Willie from being crazy and killing innocent people, and he becomes friends with Pierre later.
Yeah,
and it's just like he's
Roger
cool.
has feelings. He's actually doing his job, and Willie gets in.
We do get an awesome Tom Savini kill though.
Okay, Yeah, Willie kicks down the door, and like there's just a man standing there. It's implied he's just standing there, and like it's a dummy if you watch it slow mo. And
which we did.
Tom Savini filled a fake head full of like chips, like sauce, like whatever kind of things on the craft table. They just filled it, and he got a double bow and just blew it off, and it looks so good. In context, it's awful because a man just killed an innocent person, but in FX wise, if you're film FX gore buff. And it's that sucker punch. You've opened the movie with this. With a headshot. We haven't even. That's our first gore.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a ghoul.
No, it was just.
That hit's even worse. And that thing blows off, and like Willie's going crazy, and
he's going on shooting,
and Roger
kicking
gets on his back to like because he's like stopping him, and like what is implied, and we like find out it's Peter. Shoots at Willie.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, he shoots Willie, and quote unquote the guy we don't know, it's Peter, walks away, and the room, the way they edit and cut, they go in,
weird.
Yeah, they go into the room that Willie was shot in.
Yeah,
but Willie's not there.
No, and it led into the back room they were already in. So the apartment's bigger than it is, and there are 3 ghouls in there. Fucking idiot can't shoot his gun because he didn't load it, so he collapses on the floor and he's trying to load it, and the other guy's like, shoot it, man. Shoot in the head. And Roger comes in to help him. We get one ghoul gets killed, the other one gets killed, but the one they've missed walks out of the room, and it's the dead boyfriend and bites the girlfriend. It's like, you missed one, and
he just walks away.
Just shoot that one, and then the guy's like, the blonde haired guy's like, I can't deal with what I've done. He shoots himself. Yeah, and it's like all hell's just gone loose. So Roger needs to goes into the back like wash area.
He goes in the basement,
and just like throws up basically.
And we're introduced to Peter.
Hell yeah!
Officially,
tall man comes coming out. It's like, hey,
you're not in here by yourself.
Yeah,
and he just walks out, and
I wasn't on Willie's unit.
I just don't know what happened.
Yes,
they share a cigarette, and they Roger says like, I could run. Like tonight, and basically they've agreed to get the hell out of here.
And they agree there's a helicopter, which we know is
Steven's helicopter, yeah.
Which we now will get connected to later. And while they're talking, there's like, oh, they're becoming friends. A little bromance going on, and then a priest comes in, and he's just finished doing
a one-legged priest.
Yeah, he's now finished doing their burial rites over the corpses, and it's like, hey, there's a back room full of bodies. You should. I've
given them their final rites. You can
kill them if you want, but then he's also like, you're stronger than us, but they're stronger than you.
Yeah.
Basically, and he walks off because he just wants to find his sister, and he walks off, and then Peter and Roger just like. Corpses?
Yeah, they after there's like a quick cut of just like shooting and killing all of the ghouls that are left.
Yeah, they burying the rest of the military in the SWAT barricading the walls, and then the ghouls come in and then they have to dispose of them, and while that's happening we cut into Peter and Roger getting rid of those corpses.
Yeah, killing the ones that are just like in bags, just eating each other.
There's some pretty good
There's some good gore.
There's a lot of ghouls like ripping like pieces of meat off like bone and stuff. Some real top
stretchy, juicy.
Yeah, a lot of headshot stuff's real good.
We Stephen and Francine they go to a
radio station.
Oh yeah, a radio station.
The radio tower, I think. Yeah.
And he's just looking around.
Yeah, I think he wanted to do an SOS.
Yeah, he wanted to leave a message, like SOS. We'll see what radio's left.
Because in Steven's mind, because he thinks he was part of the traffic report, he still thinks that gives him authority over something, even though it's the end of the world.
It doesn't matter.
He hasn't broken that idea yet.
No. So he's looking around. He finds a corpse of one of the police officers, I guess, and just calls it in. Yeah. And while that happens, Francine sees guys come out. Like, these people raiders. Raiders come out of the truck.
And they're dressed up as cops.
Yeah, to, fool us. And one of them is Rhodes from Day of the Dead.
You can clearly see, he just looks like him.
It's him. But in the American cut, that scene doesn't exist.
Oh, really?
They completely cut all of that out. So, if you want to watch Rhodes before Rhodes, watch this.
Okay.
So
they get this whole standoff, and Peter and Roger show up, and they're actual SWAT. Like, they actually have authority.
What's the problem, officer?
They're just like, oh shit, we don't want any trouble, and they back off, and it's like,
what's the plan?
Yeah, what's the plan? And then there's this weird, one of the raiders is like,
he's so goofy.
And it's like, we're gonna go to the island. What island?
Any island.
Where are you going?
Straight up.
Oh,
I get it.
Yeah, and while they're going, because they just want to leave at this point, the goofy raider's just like, anyone got a cigarette?
Do you have any cigarettes? That's where the humor is. And
they all cut with Roger. They're all in the helicopter, and Roger, Francine, everyone's lighting up their own cigarettes. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
They're like, no, we don't have any. As soon as they take off, they just start smoking.
My cigarettes.
We have a little cut between Francine and Peter, and everyone introducing each other. Francine's just like, "Oh, you got any brothers?" And she's like,
"Who did you leave?"
Yeah, who'd you leave? And Peter's like, "Brothers," and it's like actual brothers and street brothers, but he's he doesn't determine, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
He's like, I meet up with him once in a while. I hope I do it again, and it's really sad. We get to know a little bit about Peter.
Yeah,
and then they're trying. The overall plan we just find out later is to get to Canada.
Yeah.
That's like the overall plan.
There's enough
resources and there's a border. It's like it should be secure.
Yeah.
Let's go to Canada. We get a flyover Jonestown, which is like the Hicksville.
Yeah.
Which I found out is kind of the same area where they did Night of the Living Dead. So it makes sense in why it's evolved. And there's
the military and locals.
Yeah, Roger is just looking down and he says, "Jesus, it's everywhere."
Yeah.
And it's a great little montage of just the townsfolk drinking coffee and beer, just like playing music, having fun. Ghouls show up. The National Guard were there, and there was the actual National Guard of Pittsburgh. Like just hired. They were like, everyone knows George A. Romero. Let's do a movie.
Oh yeah.
And I find it's a fun scene of just like, come on down, bring your best duds, dress up nice. We're gonna shoot some ghouls, and there's like great just cutting between headshots and people like, shoot, I missed, let's try it again, getting headshots, and it's so good. And there's a weird car explosion where those ghouls were there when the car exploded and they were gone with the car exploded. It's like, oh, safety reasons.
Yeah, whoops.
So that's a pretty good scene. We get to a refuel station.
Yeah, when they're flying over, they need to go. We landed the refill station. Peter is gonna go off and just check like the little service station, and Steven's going off with Francine to go look for extra fuel because the fuel they checked was low.
Yeah, low. So Roger is fueling the helicopter.
And they go have a walk around. While that's happening, we get a little Peter checks around the little service station. He gets a cup of coffee. Something's happening at the door behind the main room.
He hears something in the closet.
It's like, okay, that's suspicious. We cut to that, and Stephen and Francine is just walking around. There's nothing here. There's no fuel here.
No, nothing.
And they turn around and they get up a hillside.
And there's two ghouls.
There's two ghouls.
Oh, there's two ghouls. Stephen, I guess gets pushed down by a ghoul.
Yeah.
I guess he's just like a breath of wind knocks down Stephen, and there's a hammer. And he's trying to go for the hammer, and Francine isn't really helping. She's like, I don't know, just kind of standing there like, oh, I don't know what to do.
She turns into Barbara from Night Living Dead, and like, you gotta rectify that.
Stephen grabs a hammer and cracks a zombie on the head, so that's dead.
Yep.
He's like, Francine, go! And he does this weird move where he like bumps into the zombie, and they both fall over. And is it when Roger shows up and shoots it?
I think. Well, no, because that happens. They run, and there's another ghoul that's approaching the helicopter that Roger was fueling up.
Yeah.
And while it's approaching, Francine's like, "Oh my god!" Like they're crying over like Roger, and like the ghoul steps up over some crates and gets the top of its head cut off. Yeah, this is the propeller of the helicopter.
Again, it looks great. Tom Savini effect.
Looks so good.
It's just the simple blood and it just falls over.
Mm-hmm. The thing busts through the door that Peter was like staring at, and it's little ghoul children.
There's two little ghoul children played by Tom Savini's niece's nephew.
Oh, that's so cool.
And Ken Foray did not have a good time shooting. He was like, I didn't like shooting the kid. I just couldn't do it. So you can see it in like Peter's face, but it's Ken Foray coming through like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to shoot kids.
Yeah.
As we're getting there,
he falls back because he's done.
He's done. We get a quick montage of like Stephen and Roger like killing zombies. Stephen is crap, like absolutely garbage with a gun.
Yes.
He can't even get a headshot off, so Roger's getting headshots off.
Yeah.
And then there's a ghoul going down to Peter.
And it's the poster ghoul.
Yeah, it's the main poster ghoul.
And he's walking around. You only see him for a couple seconds, and that's it. And fucking Steven like goes down the hill and he sees it and he points the gun. It's like, you don't point the gun while there's a man in front of your target as well. And like Peter was standing in front of the ghoul in that angle, and he had to like duck while Steven was shooting, and it's like, this motherfucker could have killed me.
And he missed again, and Roger gets the headshot.
Roger had to get out of the way and shoot the ghoul, and everything's calmed down. Roger's like, "Come on, Steven, come on, Peter," and Peter's like, "This motherfucker."
He's mad,
so mad, and like he like basically just flings Steven over, points the gun in his face, and he's just like, "It's scary, isn't it?"
It's scary, isn't it? And he's just like.
And he like picks him up and he's like, "Come on, let's go." And it's just like, well, yeah, you shouldn't have almost killed Peter.
We get back in and there's like a little back and forth about like we need somewhere to go. We're out of food, we're out of water. Let's just find a spot. And we're introduced to the Dawn's favorite character, the mole. The mole is its character in its own, where we'll basically just watch the rest of these events unfold. They land and we get before they land they're like discussing like what is a mall? Here's a mall. You know, these are one of the big shopping centers.
Yeah.
And there's some ghouls on the ground, and Francine's like, it's too dangerous. It's like, well, they can't get up here. We're on the roof.
Right.
And so Peter, everyone goes looking like, let's find a way to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what happens.
And they find a back storage area, and it's filled with boxes full of survival kits, which is perfect. Also, it's no ghouls. There's no ghouls up on that area, so we're gonna break in.
Yeah.
So they break into this back area, and they're down there for at least a couple of minutes, like at least 2 minutes. And Peter and Roger are like, "Hey, we should check out the rest of this place.
Let's see what's else outside." And Francine's like, "Are you crazy?"
Steven's asleep because he's tired from flying, obviously, and it's like, well, they're gonna go check.
Well, they call it. Let's do a little hit and run.
Yeah.
And Francine's just like crazy. This is what I like about Peter though. Peter treats Francine as an equal. Yeah. He's already like, here, just take this gun. Don't worry, like it's got a kick to it, but it's got like a light trigger. You'll be fine. Yeah. Basically, we'll be back. If you hear any noises, don't worry. And it's just like, oh, okay, Peter's kind of cool, man.
So Peter and Roger go off, and they go into the generator room first, and they find a pair of keys, and they're like, oh shit, power. So just turn it all on.
Keys to the castle.
Yeah. So let's turn on all the power to them all, and all the ghouls.
Let's get distractions. Let's get distractions. Let's add more music. Let's turn on the elevators, the fountain.
Anything.
And the escalators, and it's just like just to distract the ghouls.
Mm-hmm. But let's leave all the main doors locked now. So they turn all the power, and the ghouls are so fucking amazed by everything working that they find a store. And
they also find walkie-talkies while they're down in the generator room.
And they find a main store, and it's like, well, this looks like the best one we've got right now.
I think it's a JCPenney.
Yeah. And they get into it, and there's a couple ghouls that try to break in. Nothing too bad.
There's a fun little montage of being like, yeah! Like Roger having fun, grabbing a cart full of shit. It's like, let's grab some supplies while we're here.
And while that's all happening, there's like, there's ghoul music, there's ghoul noises, there's all this shit, and Steven gets up, and Steven wants to feel like a man.
Yeah, Steven wants to be one of the guys, so it's like, you stay here, I'm gonna go check it out.
And he fucks off, he goes to the generator room, and he discovers there is a map, and he got himself a little pew-pew gun.
Yeah, he got himself a revolver.
Yeah, which he can barely shoot, and while that was happening, there's that nice shot where he's like looking, and there's like a ghoul in the background window.
Oh, the shadow, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, well, shit. And, Roger and...
He goes back to Peter and Roger just buying stuff. As he's doing this, he's trying to... Steven gets chased down by one single ghoul.
Yeah.
And he's trying to shoot it as he's reloading, and he drops all the...
He's shit.
He's so shit. And he finally gets a headshot off. He finally kills the ghoul. And he goes the back way and meets up with Peter. No, he's trapped in that hallway.
Yeah, with the main stairwell would have been...
And Peter's like, don't open that door. They'll go right upstairs if you open that door. And Steven's like, maybe I'll do it. And Peter's just like, just get over it.
And he gets over there and they get into the main store. And they think they're safe. They got everything all secured. And there's somehow a ghoul in there standing amongst the mannequins. And he jumps onto Roger because of a continuity issue in the film. They had to put the ghoul there.
Yeah, Roger's character, Scott, right, no, he had a jumper tied around his waist, and during somewhat in the film he lost it, so they had to reshoot, and it was explain why it just disappeared in the film.
So a ghoul grabs it off him, and like they have a little tussle, and it's a mechanic ghoul. So like Roger grabs the screwdriver and screwdriver it, and it's so good.
It's so good. It looks great.
We get that, and while that was happening, there's a Krishna ghoul.
Yeah, Hare Krishna ghoul finds like the door Steven was trying to get into.
Found
He's
the
like,
stairwell.
oh my god, that's the door. So he finds a way, and it very slowly tracking down Francine when it finds like the scent.
While that happens, Steven shows them the map and it explains the plan of like... Well,
There's an event.
There's an event we can
Elevator
get through
event, sorry.
to each of the stores without them knowing.
Yeah, without unlocking anything, we can just jump up and down through elevator vents.
It's perfect.
It's a good plan.
So how are we going to get through? Elevator. While that's happening, the Krishna Ghoul has gotten through into the main area where Francine is, and she turns around and is like, here he is. What are you going to do? With a gun? Not going to use the gun. Okay. Flares.
She's got a lot of flares in that room.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to back it up and set fire to it.
Ghouls still don't like zombies. Ghouls still do not like fire with this one. But they're a little more accepting of it because the Hare Krishna zombie doesn't last that long to the flame.
While this is all happening, I would like to say, just in backstory, it's so much fun to watch the ghouls because each ghoul has its own character. Yeah. One of the ghouls has grabbed one of, I think it's Peter or Roger's guns.
He grabs Roger's gun.
And he's carrying it throughout the movie, but he's not using it as a gun. He's holding it as just a tool or a stick.
Yeah. And it was fun though because you get to see him in the background in most shots.
Yeah.
He's just like a character that stays around.
And he's just like, he doesn't know what to do with this gun. And I'll bring up now at the end of the movie while an event happens. One of the characters trades off the gun for the ghouls, like, oh, I like your gun better.
Another gun.
And it's just like these little characters the ghouls have. It's just so good.
Yeah, there was no direction for the zombies. George A. Romero basically just said, do what you want. Just keep it the same every time we film, please.
That's so good.
So Peter, Steven, and Roger show back up, and they save Francine from it. And there's like a somewhat weird scene where Steven's like, there's so many great things down here. We should stay here. It's great. And Francine's just like shook because she just had an interaction with a ghoul. We get radio.
They finally got...
There's some news and some little... They're trying to like hope for survivors, and we know
Steven's getting cocky.
He's like, man, we could survive here. And Peter shuts that down quickly.
Yeah,
he's just like, man...
Steven's not understanding that there are more ghouls than there is us right now.
Yeah, even though they're slow, they have strength in numbers.
There's so many of them.
There's so many, that's their strength. And we find out that Fran is pregnant.
With Peter, with Steven's child.
With Steven's child, and Peter's first question is, do you want to abort it? Because I know how. And Steven says no, he doesn't say anything, but he says no.
He shakes his head, but because it cuts to Francine's view of the door, she doesn't know what that answer is.
Yeah, so she looks very concerned.
Mm-hmm. And this is a character thing that kind of pushes upon that they kind of sideline Francine for a bit until she holds up her own, which should never happen. But the way it's written, it's very hard to watch because it's a bunch of men depicting the future of someone else's child as well.
And without her decision.
Yeah, it's very hard to watch. It's very male forward for a bit until Francine, holds her own.
Yeah, until she holds her own. We get a little monologue over just ghouls walking around the mall by a character, Dr. Millard Roche. It's like, they're creatures, not human, and they must be destroyed. Remember, the behavior are motorized, and their instinct. Remember these facts. They're living off instinct. You must destroy these, including the brain. And it's just a great shot of just ghouls doing things, walking around, going up escalators, like, whoa, like, just instinct. They're just motorized meat at this point.
It's so good. And we cut to the next day, and
there's a plan to lock the doors.
Peter, Steven, and Roger on the roof. They're just checking everything out. Like, hey, we can get these trucks and lock them off. They come down. Francine's already up, and she's just like, hey, I'm part of the group here too.
I'm not gonna be dead, mother.
Exactly. Like, what? I get to know all the plans, and everyone's like, well, here's the plans, and you're staying here because you need to figure out how to protect yourself. And she's like, okay, give me a gun. Also, I want to learn how to fly the helicopter if Steven dies. Which is a good point. Which is a valid point because no one else is learning it.
Here's a fun bit though.
When she asks for a gun.
When she asks for a gun, Steven gives her the revolver and
box ammo.
Yeah, box ammo. In the cut we watched, it's like him silently putting down the gun and ammo. In the American cut, it's him smacking, like the sound of him smacking down the gun and ammo.
Because he's pissy
Because
boy.
he's pissed off, but it just looks so funny in the complete
Because he
version.
looks grumpy.
Because he looks like he smacked down the gun, but it just goes.
And he's like so angry.
He's just like, "Argh!" And it's just like a gentle sound of him putting down a gun.
So Peter and Roger go to go on the truck. Steven's gonna go up in the helicopter to view everything, and Francine gets to go on the roof and does some.
She has a hunting rifle, so she's just gonna practice while she's up there,
which is
fun. It's cool training.
So she gets to protect everyone else around, and they do pretty well. They get, I think, 1 or 2 trucks round, no damage at all.
No,
They block off the back doors, and the next idea they got to block off the front main doors, which does not go well because while Roger's trying to hotwire a car, of the truck, some ghouls get around and like grab him. Don't bite him, but he gets pretty close to being bitten, and he there's a glorious headshot where he gets sprayed in the blood, and he gets another headshot, and he's kind of like losing his cool, and he gets into Roger's. He gets into Peter's truck, and he's like, "My bag, shit! I forgot my bag."
Yeah, and there's a great scene where with Cam Foray,
like getting him smacking sense back in.
He's just like, "You can screw your head on, mister."
Yeah, like calm the hell down. He's getting wild, and he's like, "Okay, go back to the other truck. We'll go
grab your bag."
And unfortunately, he grabs his bag, but a ghoul grabs him.
He bites it right into his leg.
Another ghoul grabs and bites his arm. And Francine managed to get a couple headshots on some of the ghouls, but not the one.
Yeah, not the one that got him. She gets a headshot off a random zombie, and then just stomach shots off of the one that causes the biting.
So they get the 2 main trucks to the main door, but then Peter has to go to Roger's truck, and because he's now immobilized and is now left to Peter to finish up the main door, and he's like tying up his leg, and they get the job done, but we're slowly losing.
We're slowly losing Roger. So now Steven steps in, and that's like, after all this, we get a recovery scene, and they need more guns and ammo. So Steven and Peter's plan is like, we're gonna go grab guns and ammo. We're gonna make this graph. These are where walls are, and we'll figure it out from there. So they go to this little ammo store.
Yeah.
They crawl for the vents and grab guns, and then they get back to the hideout.
They get back and they need to figure out, because now the doors are locked, they need to figure out getting all the other doors and more locked. So they get Francine and everyone else. Roger's in the cart now.
He's in a little car. He's in
a little car getting pushed around, and they're like, "Well, we usually get to these back doors." And Francine's like, "Well, look, what? There's a car. Yeah, there's more cars.
There's a Volkswagen Scirocco in there, which has been showing up a lot, and it's like, back in the day, he was like, well, I don't know if we still do it now, where it's just like, you can win this car or some shit.
Yeah, they put cars in malls, and you can win them for like ridiculous prices and stuff.
Yeah, that was a Volkswagen Scirocco. It's just like, well, we can get
Roger hotwire it. Yeah, he can.
Yeah, because it's hotwire the trucks, and it's like, you can get to these locations quicker than just running up and down the mall.
So Francine stays in the store to lock off that door, while the men get to go off in the car. They drive off, and Peter's getting great headshots of that sniper he's got.
Yeah, he's doing pretty
good. Roger climbs in the back of the car, and that zombie, a ghoul, thumbs in
his wound.
And he's like, "Oh!"
There's a lot of blood just gushing out of his wound.
And he hotwires the car for killing that ghoul, and they get the main back doors locked, they get the other back doors locked, and then they get that quiet scene of just all of the ghouls they've killed and just the corpse count. It's just a quiet moment of just okay, so now what's now?
Well, main objective, we have to clean up the bodies.
Mm-hmm.
We have to because it's going to get rotten and make them aggravated and cause other illnesses. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So they put all the ghouls they've slain into the industrial freezers in one of the restaurants.
And while that's happening, Peter...
We get a consumer montage.
Yeah, and Steven and Peter are looking over the plans, and Peter's got this amazing plan. It's like, well, I've got an idea. If we can shack up here longer than we planned to, how about we put an invisible wall here that only we know exists, and we could live here, and we could put a little house here. Okay, so while the ghouls are having their little montage, Steven and Peter are going into stores, taking supplies, and they start building and painting walls. Roger is slowly deteriorating into death.
Yeah, you can see he's getting worse and worse.
Francine is getting glowing. She's now having morning sickness.
Yeah,
It's not a good scene.
this consumer scene goes on for a little. I think it's like 5 minutes.
It's a big message.
It's basically just like they just shack up into these houses at the end of the world, grab everything for free.
Taking all the store, they're taking all the food, they're going to the arcade, they're just
you can see at the beginning they were so excited, and then you slowly see on their faces just like, what have we done to each other, and just the depression, and just sinks in like, oh my god, we're just becoming them just in a different way.
And in between all this depression,
Roger is not looking great.
In between all this, like what they've become, they look through and they're still kind of questioning who the ghouls are. And Kent Foray has that amazing quote where he there's like that they're us. That's all. When there's no more room in hell.
There's no more room in hell. The dead will walk the earth, and it's a great speech. You know, if you know the monologues, you know it.
And it's now become a part of pop culture, but to really sell the point of just like, okay, maybe there's something else to these ghouls than we're thinking. Because like the other mindset of Ferrell is just like, they're just us. They're just coming back because this is a thing they've known.
Yeah,
like,
they're coming back to the mall because it's the thing they used to do.
No, it's just an instinct. So while that's happening, they have to go check out Roger because of his deterioration, and really, Francine's been trying her best with like medications, antibiotics, and it's
morphine, a lot of morphine,
and it's really come to the point where morphine. Peter and Roger have a talk, and basically, Roger doesn't want to come back as the dead, but he's also implying, "Kill me if I do."
If I do, and is that funny too? Peter, listen, man.
I'm listening, man.
Listen, I'm right next to you, and then.
There's this a beautiful show of like the TV and the radio have this like dialogue about like we're down to the line, like
we can touch upon our nuclear supplies. We could kill every
cities.
Like, we can feed all the ghouls if we want and just cause them to stay in their own place, or we can just absolute destruction and destroy all of them.
And there's this weird backstory, like not backstory, but arguments between like humanity, like. They're treating it like the Republicans versus the Democrats, where it's almost like a vote, but it's like, this is down to the human life or death. It's not, we're voting on this. And they get to this point, and like there's this beautiful cut between TV and radio audio. Roger has now passed on, and Peter...
We get a headshot.
Yeah, Peter shoots him, and we bury him in the back of the fountain display.
All the fake grass and shit. They just bury him in the wood chips.
What are you gonna do?
Nothing. And again, as I was talking about, it continues with a consumerism, and they're just coming numb to it. And again, they're becoming the ghouls, but in a different way. Their brains are just becoming mush.
Yeah,
just numb, having everything all at once.
And while that's all happening, they're living in this like prison cell now. Basically, they built for themselves. It's a lovely prison cell, and no interference or radios coming through, and we get this cut where there's been these scavengers, these raiders with Tom Savini.
Yeah, when you Tom Savini combing his moustache with a little
knife,
the switchblade comb, yeah.
And they get this into Peter and Stephen and Francine get the interference in the radio, and they're like, well, hold on, like they're saying that they're here to help, but like let's just listen, and clearly. They're not, but Francine and Stephen like, no, come on, it's like Peter's the only one thinking straight.
He's like, they're trying to talk over the scatter, and he's like, shut up, god damn it, let me listen.
Yeah, and it's like, well, now the main scavenger raider has said, well, now you fucked up real bad.
We don't like people who don't share.
So we get this sick, awesome, it's basically 10-minute scene
of just motorbikes. Well, they try and move the trucks. Doesn't work, so they blow up the doors with dynamite.
Yeah,
and it's just a flood of ghouls, people on motorbikes riding their motorbikes through the fucking mall.
Yeah,
and apparently the sound guy during that scene almost went deaf because of just the sound of the motorbike reverberating on the marble. He almost lost his hearing.
Well, it's all craziness happening. Then bikers are killing ghouls in amazing ways.
Ghouls are dying. Bikers are dying.
Tom Savini's killing ghouls in an amazing way, and Steven is like, he's broken now. He's completely gone. He's like, this is ours.
They're trying to take it.
Yeah,
it's ours.
So Steven starts shooting off and killing some bikers, and Peter's like, well, now you've just started a fucking war. Now they know it's us. So it's like Peter's like, I'm gonna go in the main area, ceiling, see you up there. That's where you think Steven's going. Steven's stuck in the back storeroom now.
Yeah, with ghouls.
With ghouls he did not realize, and he's like, elevator, perfect. I'll take the elevator. I'm gonna climb up the shaft, and Raiders break into that main room, and they fire off into the elevator because they think they know Steven's in there, but they don't really think they shot him, but they managed to shoot Steven in the arm.
Yeah, they shoot him in the arm. He's trying not to make a sound. He's like a quiet, just.
While that's happening, Tom Savini now has a vengeance towards Peter because he shot one of his friends, and Tom Savini's got this cool like sword. He's got like a sword.
Yeah, he gets a zombie in the head with it.
Yeah, he's in the sheath all the time, and he always pulls it out, and like
it's called Blades.
It's so great, and like
he's called Blades, but he has a handgun as well.
Yeah, and Peter's in the ceiling in the vents, and he opened up a hole in the vents. And
he vented it.
He vented
Among Us.
And he opened up the one of like the cracks in the vent, and somehow
hunting rifle. He tried to get a perfect shot.
Shoots Tom Savini. He falls off dead.
Which he did. Tom Savini did his own stunts in this movie, and he fell off the basically balcony and onto the floor.
Yeah, dead. And while that's all happened, Stevens tried to get out, and a bunch of ghouls open up the elevator door and attack him.
Yeah, they get him. Zombie get.
He managed to get off a couple headshots with his gun, but then that's it. And
he gets bitten too much, and he just is left to bleed out and die in the elevator.
And it's really cool because the elevator door closes, so you just like, oh, he's just left in there. And then while that's all happening, Peter gets to Francine. It's just like, well, I might go save Steven
if I can.
Maybe, and then like, nah, he's dead. So
he hears a gunshot and he runs back down the stairs, and it's like, well, maybe we could just wait a minute. And there's like a beautiful montage of while this is all happening, there's a pie fight. We forgot to mention. They just added that in. Ghouls start attacking bikers, tearing apart. There's Tom Savini great gore where they use actual guts and stuff, and they're just eating all the bikers.
The ghouls get to eat now.
Yeah. Tasso's stomach gets ripped open. They start in his intestines. There's the guy who puts his arm in the blood pressure test for some reason. They pull him apart, and there's just his arm left in the blood pressure machine. It's a great just like scene of just zombies eating.
Yeah.
And zombies fighting with flesh, being like, "Give me that!" And
over it's got the gong music.
It's got the gong. I don't think I could put in because I'm scared to.
It's a good song.
But the zombies ghouls or zombies, I call them zombies, are rubbing up against the elevator where Steven was, and they touch the button. Doors open. Fucking awesome. Zombie Steven is fucking cool.
Best.
He is so good. The music, the echo is just like and it's just Zombie Steven.
And problem is, Zombie Steven knows where the stairwell is.
Remember Motorized Instinct?
Yeah.
He remembers where the invisible walls is. And he doesn't know he has that revolver still on his finger. He's just holding the gun the entire time, like on a finger. And he knows where to go, and he breaks down the invisible wall. And it's just a flood.
So Peter and Francine has come to the idea, I'm going to take the helicopter. Peter has more the mindset, I'm going to go and kill myself, basically.
I don't want to go.
I don't want to go. And while that's all happening, the ghouls break in, and the first one that breaks in is Steven. And just turns around, and Roger's just like with the rifle, not even like the pistol, just like headshot, bam, Steven's
gone. There's
a bunch of ghouls enter, and it's like, okay, Francine, you gotta go. Get the fuck out now. And Roger goes into the back. Peter goes into the back room with his little handheld pistol, so he can like shoot himself. And Francine goes up to the roof to take the helicopter. My understanding, they didn't film it, but my understanding, there was an original ending. And in the movie, if you kind of watch it, when she comes out of the helicopter door, you kind of get the connection they were going to film it anyway. Yeah. But in the air quotes, because they didn't film it, but someone suggested it in the team, the original ending to this movie was, all hope is lost. Peter's in the back room. He actually succeeds and shoots himself, and the ghouls will eat him. Francine opens up her door of the helicopter and cuts her head off on the top blades of the helicopter, and the ghouls will feast on her, and that's
how it should have. That's how they wanted it ended.
But they're like, no, fuck that. So Peter gets a last minute of like, I'm a hero, and kicks all the ghouls and shoots them out of the way and climbs up and gets to the helicopter while it was about to take off.
We get the gun ghoul.
The gun, and then he trades off the gun, like I mentioned earlier, and it's like, he got a new gun.
Yeah, he's changed the machine gun for a hunting rifle.
And he gets in, and Pierre's just looking at Francine. He's like, "How much fuel we got?"
Not a lot.
Okay.
Okay, and they get beautiful music, and they fly into the sunrise.
And that's the ending.
And that's we got like a cut of just like the gong music again, and just footage of the mall.
All the ghouls are now in the mill where they wanted to be anyway.
Yeah. And that's Dawn of the Dead. That's Dawn of the Dead.
Woo!
What you rate this?
I gave Night of the Living Dead 11 out of 10.
I don't know why. Yeah.
I give this a 10 out of 10.
I gave it a 9.8.
Oh,
I took 2 points off. Sorry, I took 2 points off.
because
Even though I like the editing style and things that happened, didn't need to be this long. Not really. And I hate that Francine's character was so just
sideline.
Yeah, at the beginning and then only shows up at the end. But I love the humor, the consumerism point, the aspect, there's great effects. Tom Savini. This is the first Tom Savini effect movie we've talked about.
It's really good.
Again, I like and dislike most of the editing choices, but the way it's shot, I like. I don't like. It's not just flat. As George A. Romero called it, it's called the cover your ass style of filming, where you just get as many shots as you can.
Yeah,
and you can definitely see that, and that's why I like 9.8. Yeah.
All right.
That's the only thing. Well, please, thank you for listening, like and subscribe, and
Keep watching horror movies.
have a ghoulish day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.